Hey guys, I'm Coach Michael Burt, the super coach, the monster coach. You know, we believe a monster producer is a legendary creature that combines multiple skill sets to really dominate a market. And in this month, in this monster producer, we're really breaking down the monster vehicle. So I want to consider this the monster scrub, where you're scrubbing your business and you're looking at your business and your strategies and your sales and your marketing and your operations. And I want to look at the vehicle because to me, I wish so badly that someone would have sat me down 10 years ago and said these words to me: Coach, a business is designed before there is a business. A poorly designed business has got to be recalibrated. And I really wish a person would have sat me down and showed me this, because what happens is you start making money and then you got to recalibrate the business and you start to figure out the vehicle I'm driving cannot get me to my financial goals. It can't do it. It can only go so far. So today we're talking monster scrub and monster vehicle. Is this the right vehicle to drive your bigger future? Hey, welcome to Monster Producer. This is really at a 3 or 4.0 level. This is a very advanced concept. When most people get into business, there's a couple things they don't understand, especially if they want to become monster producers. They don't understand the volume they have to do. They don't understand the money they need. They don't understand the commitment it's going to take. They don't understand the pure just tenacity and resilience that it's going to require. And so really they get into a vehicle only to find out years down the road that this vehicle cannot get me to the next level. So one of my good buddies is a real estate agent. He's in Monster Producer, and he came to me one day and said, what if I wanted to make $1 million? And I said, your current vehicle cannot get you there. Meaning, you can't sell enough houses to make $1 million in your current structure. Now, you could sell 100 houses a year or 150, build up some excess cash, take that excess cash and go buy some land. You could go buy some commercial property. You could go buy rental property, i.e. your primary vehicle could get you there to that level and give you some excess cash, but then that excess cash could be put into a symbiotic relationship of which you could make more money. Now, you may be able to get to $1 million. But right now, what you're doing, you can't work at McDonald's and make $1 million unless you own the franchise. You can't work at Chick-fil-A and make $1 million unless you own the franchise. Unless you own the business. You can't work at Walmart and make $1 million. The vehicle can't get you there unless you're Sam Walton's kid. So here's the problem for a lot of people. They get in a vehicle only to find out, man, they haven't done the math. This vehicle cannot get them there. Or they find themselves working 80, 90, 100 hours a week, and they're miserable and they hate the job. Okay, and you may think you got some freedom being the business owner, but now you actually got a job. You've actually bought yourself a job. Okay, so in this monster producer, I want you to think about this monster vehicle. So here's how I tell people. I believe in a concept called intentional congruence and symbiotic relationship, a symbiotic flow. So what I do is I create a structure. That's my primary flow. My primary flow of income is coaching. And out of coaching, I also have speaking, writing, products, licensing, training other coaches. You see what I'm saying? Then I take a concept like Monster Producer, right in the middle. It's a coaching program, individual coaching program. Then I start saying, how do I increase my revenue around this one primary flow? Well, I could have Monster Apprentice for assistance. I could have Monster Mortgage, Monster Real Estate, Monster Attorneys, Monster Chiropractors, Raising a Monster for kids, Living with the Monster for husbands and wives, Inside the Mind of a Monster, Monster Fitness, Monster Faith. And then I start going, okay, now I can start generating 8, 9, 10 flows of income from what? The one flow. So what I do is I go into a primary relationship and I say, okay, we want you a monster producer because you're an entrepreneur, but nobody's coaching your team, so we got monster teams. Nobody's coaching your assistant, now we got monster assistant or apprentice. Nobody's coaching your operations team, now we got monster operations. One flow of revenue produces 4, 5, or 6 flows, and then I start going. Now, I may just own a piece of all these other businesses. So maybe I own a 50% stake in Monster Insurance, or 50% stake in Monster Fitness, or 50% stake in Monster this. But it's through my network that I've generated these leads and this opportunity. So now there's people we can share it with. So when you're thinking about your vehicle and you're drawing it up right here at this time of the year, I want you to ask one simple question. Can the current vehicle you have get you to your financial goals? Can you make $1 million a year while working 40 hours a week? What if you want to work 3 days a week? What if you want to work 2 days a week? Can your current vehicle get you? How do you transition from a technician to an owner? From a technician to an owner? From doing the work to paying somebody else to do the work of which you make a spread? How do you find vehicles? So what I did in Monster this month is I showed all of the vehicles we have to make money. We got Monster Producer. Then I've got speaking. Then I've got coaching contracts. Now I'm getting into licensing plays. Now we're building a Greatness Factory, which has 9 different revenue sources. Then we're moving into Greatness Factory for Kids. Then we're getting to licensing Greatness Factory for Kids. Then we're getting into subsets of all these coaching programs. Then we're getting to certification programs, and it's all multiple flows. But here's the deal. It's all symbiotic, which means all of the flows are tied to each other. They're all interested in each other. They're all connected to each other. So I start with one program, Monster Producer, and I say, well, all these people's got kids. Wouldn't it be great if when they come to the Greatness Factory, their kids went to the Greatness Factory for Kids? They're learning this so they could learn this. Their teams need to be learning this. Their operations people need to be learning this, right? Now I'm starting to say, well, they got a physical body, so I got Monster Fitness. Then they got a spiritual body. Now we got Monster Faith. You see what I'm saying? Now we're providing something for the entire family, which makes the relationship stickier, but it also is the vehicle that can get us to several $1 million. So I sit down and I write out every night. I own a company or multiple companies that generate $20.4 million of revenue, of which I am paid $6 million a year in cash. That's what I tell myself every night. So here's what I'm asking you. I want you to stop right now, and I want you to draw up the vehicle that you're in and the number of symbiotic relationships that you could actually create from your primary flow of income. Now, let me be very clear. You cannot build secondary flows until you have your primary flow clicking at every single cylinder. So you got to get your revenue up, just like I've been teaching in Monster Producer. Go back and watch Monster 1.0. Get your revenue up. Get your revenue up by great EOS, working the selling system, $1 million follow-up, extraction of referrals. Once you have this, then you begin looking for secondary flows, intentional congruence. This feeds this, feeds this, feeds this. And at that level, now you're building a vehicle. It's got some breadth and depth to it to get to your financial goals. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the law of diffusion and innovation and why you got to go through a lot of people to get to the real people. You know, my buddy Brad Lee really changed my mind about this. He said there's a difference between training and exposure. See, we've all been exposed to each other on this trip. Training is something we do every day, like working a muscle. Training is, the military trains every day. You know why? Preparedness. They never know what's going to come next. Olympians train every day. Top sales professionals train every day. Top speakers train every day. They're working that muscle. And you know what happens when you work that muscle a lot? It becomes muscle memory. Too few people place a high value on training of their people. Like the group I just spoke to, I guarantee you none of them, they're selling $1 million boats, and none of them have ever been coached in how to overcome objection, opposition of thought, how to handle an objection, how to maneuver an objection. They've probably never been coached in how to touch somebody 7 touches. They've not been trained, so how do they get better? Most people are not reading books. The average American reads less than 1 book a year. They're not watching YouTube videos. They're not listening to podcasts. They're just going through the motions of life. So here's what I believe. Trained people always outperform untrained people. You look at the top gross earning companies in the world, and I guarantee you there is a training mechanism in place where they're training every day. Question is, why aren't you training your people? You want them to get better, but you're not coaching them daily. Work at muscle, work at muscle. We train in 4 or 5 areas. How to explain your services, how to work a selling system, how to follow up like a pro, how to extract referrals. I don't care what business you're in. Those are vital components of running a business. So these are areas that I think everybody needs to be training in every single day, especially if they want to be great. Welcome back, Monster Producer. This is my biggest coaching program. Over 350 people take part of this program all over the world. You can get it in Alaska. You can get it in other countries. You can get it anywhere. You can get it through my online academy, which many of you are in, the Monster Growth Academy, where you're getting coached by me anytime, anywhere, any device. Or you can come in person and experience it live, and a lot of people really enjoy that as they come to the Greatness Factory, or I rotate it 5 or 6 times a month. I'm coming to Houston now, and I teach this program all over the world, so you can come and literally get face-to-face with me, and we'll help you build your vehicle. We'll help you find the right thing. So in this segment, I want to talk about the law of innovation and diffusion, okay? Because segment 1 was about, do you have the right vehicle? You can't get to Hawaii by driving to Hawaii. You have to have a plane. You have to have you can't even have a train. You got to have a boat. Do you have the right vehicle, or are you headed in the wrong direction? Don't matter how fast you go if you head in the wrong direction. So you got to get this vehicle correct. Now, once you got the vehicle, you got to ask yourself this question. When I look at people out in the world, the law of innovation and diffusion is a bell curve. And the bell curve basically tells me that 2% of people are going to jump on board immediately. All they need to do is see it one time. They're called innovators. There's 13.9% of people that are early adopters, which means they see it. They just understand it. Once they understand it, bam, they take action. That's 15%, 16% of the total population. Then you move to 34%, what's called early majority, 34% late majority, and 16% of losers or laggards out in the world, and they're never going to buy in. Now, I tell you that because selling as a monster is going out into the marketplace, and it's not selling what you have to everybody who wants it. It's actually sharing what you believe and seeing who believes the same things you do. That's what selling is. Going out into the market, sharing what you believe, and see who believes it too. That's where your partnership is. So, based on the law of innovation and diffusion, guess what it tells me? For every 30 people, 4.8 will buy in. Then there will be 10 more that may buy in with a little more information. Then there'll be 10 more that may buy in with a lot of information. And then there'll be 5 that will never buy in. I don't care if you move in with these people. You're only looking for people that are looking for you. So, out of 350 monster producers, this tells me that 52.8 of these monsters will generate the most money, buy in the most, be early innovators, early adopters. These people are the movers and shakers of the program. There will be some 34% barely get on board, 34% clueless, and 16% that ain't even never show up. They don't do anything with what they've got. So for you, here's what I'm telling you. Number 1, your volume's not enough. Your vehicle's not reaching enough people. See, imagine me teaching Monster Producer and simulcasting to 10,000 people around the country. Imagine that. Or 100,000 people. Or 200,000 people. See, that's law of numbers. Out of those 200,000 people, only 15% of them are going to buy or engage with me, right? Okay, 34%, or actually 70% of those people are going to be out in La La Land. 16% never going to do anything. They don't even know their own planet Earth. So for you, what are you looking for as a monster? Number 1, you got to get your volume up. You got to see enough people. You got to talk to enough people, because you're only looking for people that are looking for you. So let me ask this question. As you're scrubbing your business and looking at it, is your vehicle touching enough people in a week? I'll close this segment with this. A week and a half ago, we took a private jet and we flew almost 2,000 miles in a day and a half, and we got in front of, say, 1,500 to 2,000 people. Out of that, we will only sell 10 of those people. Right? We will only sell 2,000, let's say, times 15%. Let's just say 300 people will be interested in something. Out of that number, even a smaller percentage, we'll get down to 60 or 50. We won't be able to get in touch with 10 or 20 of them. At the end of the day, we'll sell something to 4, 5, 6, 10 people. So for you, look at how many people we had to go through to get down to the good ones. Can your vehicle that you're using right now get you to that many people? Or are you going after a niche of people that can write you a bigger check? That's what I want you asking yourself right now. I get a lot of questions about my biggest coaching program, which is Monster Producer, and the kinds of things we do in Monster. It's a community. It's not just a coaching program. I mean, we've got people in Monster Producer. Derek Godwin's with us today. He's in Mega Monster. He's gone to Seaside twice. He's got on the airplane with us. I mean, these are the kinds of unique opportunities that we do together. It's not just come to a coaching program. Tremendous power of network. You're going to get the coaching every month. You're going to get 9 to 10 touches a month. It's going to be ridiculous how much content we shove out to you. You're going to be in a forward posture, but beyond that, you're going to get a powerful network of people and opportunities. And originally, I didn't get that. When I first built Monster Producer, I built it for the coaching. I said, man, we're going to give you great coaching for a year. It's going to help you expand your business. Once we started getting 300 people in there, 350 people, that'd be 500 people before long. Then it really turned into this powerhouse of networks of people who are doing business with each other, who are living life together, who are experiencing really unique things together, like 10,000 feet in climbing and seaside retreats. We're working on new retreats, which could include flying on the private jet to a private island, spending time together 3 or 4 days, very high level, talking business, talking investments, talking how to really play at a much higher level. So if you're not in Monster Producer, you really need to be. At the price point you're paying, I mean, it's really a ridiculous price point for the value that you're getting and the networks you're getting access to. So I want you in Monster Producer, legendary creature, combine multiple skill sets to dominate a market. Maybe you get in Monster, could be part of 10,000 feet and climbing. You could be on this private jet with me right now. Welcome back, Monster Producer. Let me put a bow around this for you. Most people have the wrong vehicle. I was in a vehicle working 80 hours a week, right, as a high school basketball coach, 6:30 in the morning, 12 o'clock at night. And although I could reach one of my dreams, which was to win a championship, I couldn't reach all of them. I could reach one dream, but I couldn't reach all of them. I left that vehicle and started a new vehicle, only to find out, with only one of Coach Burt, until I began to scale online academies, right, technology, there's only so big this business can get. Now I'm building greatness factories to affect people in different ways. Now we're licensing content. Now we're certifying people. We're looking for ways to grow and scale. So as you scrub your business, I want you to really ask these hard questions as it relates to the Monster vehicle. I'm constantly drawing up, which vehicle do I need to be in? Is it real estate? Is it a coaching business? Is it an entrepreneurial career? Is it speaking? Is it coaching? Is it writing? Is it online platforms? What is the vehicle that I need to be in to get to the next level? Or am I in the right vehicle? I just need to add some new tires, right? And some new lights and some new features to this vehicle that I currently got. And that may be what you need to do if you got big financial goals, big dreams. You got to look at the Monster vehicle. Guys, we believe everybody needs a coach in life. We believe a good coach can change your life. We believe a Monster Producer is a freaking legendary creature. Come get involved if you're not involved. If you're in, thank you. Get involved, get engaged, be in the courses, get online and watch the programs. We're giving you the content. All you got to do is go take action on it. Jack asked me if I had anything on my mind after speaking the last couple of days to 600-700 people. A couple things that come to mind is out of every 100 people, there's 5 or 10 that raise their hand that are serious about getting better. It's a real sad state, to be honest with you, because they're not even interested in their own potential. People show up with no notepad to take notes on at a sales rally. The first thing a person does is walk right up to me and say, well, you know, my kids got potential, they need a coach like you. And I'm like, no, man, let's talk about you. Let's talk about your potential. Let's not talk about your kids' potential. Let's talk about your potential. So one of the things I've learned is that a small percentage of people are actually interested in greatness. They're actually interested in pushing and expanding and growing. Most people are in a very complacent state, which means they just go through the motion. They produce a little bit, but they really don't raise their hand and say, I'm ready to go play at a much higher level. And they're a lot more interested in their kids' potential than their own potential. Potential is not age specific. It's important to all of us. We all got a lot more potential in the tank. So that's some observations I had over the last couple of days, that we're trying so hard to get people engaged in their own potential. They ought to come with batteries included and say, how do I get better? They ought to be curious in their potential. They ought to have an intensity and an interest in their own potential. But sadly, very few people raise their hand and say, I'm in, coach. Put me in because I'm ready to get better. Don't let that be you.